Hello, this is Preethi Fernando. Mental toughness. Too often, when we think of mental toughness, we think of the athlete, the Navy SEAL, the military person, someone who is engaged in some kind of physical endurance. Mental toughness is not just for the athlete, it's for you and I. It's for the stay at home mom, it's for the working professional, it's for the CEO, it's for the healthcare professional, it's for the teacher having a difficult day in school, it's for the student having a difficult day with the teacher, it's for you and I. We think that holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it's letting go that makes us stronger. Mental toughness is for you and I. Developing mental toughness is not about having to be the best, it's not about becoming the richest or to becoming the strongest person. Developing mental toughness means that you will be okay no matter what happens, that you have the mental capacity, the resilience, the tenacity, the grit to rise above life's obstacles. What good would it be if you had a football field and there was only one side playing and they ran across from one side to the other end and they scored a touchdown? What good would it be? Would it be exciting? No, it's the opposition. It's the tackles, the interceptions that happen, the disappointments, the fouls. Those are the moments that test our mental toughness. And that's when we finally feel like, aha, we almost got it. And then just as we're about to get it, someone intercepts and there's another challenge. Those are the moments that test our mental endurance. During this webinar, I will equip you with the tools that you need to face the challenges, sometimes in your work life, sometimes it could be in your personal life. You will be empowered so you have the courage to face that difficult conversation with a coworker. You will have the tools to manage your time better. And you will have the tools to have endurance during crisis times. This webinar is divided into 4 sections. Learning the qualities of a mentally tough person, that's section number 1. Section number 2 is mental toughness and time management, mental toughness and facing a crisis, and Preethi's 17-step program to improving our mental toughness. A mentally tough person demonstrates 3 main qualities: resilience, tenacity, and grit. Resilience is that ability to bounce back. Tenacity, that elasticity, that stretchable quality. When someone says something rude to us, or someone does something dishonest or breaks the trust that we have in them, yes, it hurts from time to time. Yes, it hurts for a while. We still have that stretchable quality to bounce back. And grit, that toughness, that boldness to face life's obstacles. Mental toughness is such a fine line that you can easily miss it. That fine line between success and failure, you can easily miss it because it's so thin. And oftentimes, sadly enough, people give up when the victory is right around the corner. Why? Because they miss that fine line. It's almost invisible. So if you have been working at something, it could be in your work life, it could be with a habit that you're trying to kick or break away from, or it could be trying to improve as an athlete. Whatever the goal that you have been trying to hit, if you're just about to give up, just hang in there, just wait a little bit. You might have already hit that almost invisible line before success or victory is right around the corner. To understand what mental toughness is about, let's start off with what it's not about. Being mentally strong isn't about acting tough. It's not about acting tough, it's about acting according to your true values. Mental toughness does not mean you must ignore your emotions. It's not about suppressing your emotions, it's about developing a keen sense of awareness about your emotions, self awareness. Mental strength is not about treating your body like a machine. It's to take care of your body, it's not to overuse or abuse your body. Physical endurance is not the only quality of a mentally tough person. We associate mental toughness with physical endurance. That's just one way to define it, but it's not the only way. Mental strength does not mean you have to be completely self reliant. Mentally tough people are very quick to ask for help. It means having the humility to ask for help, knowing that you're not in control all the time. Mental strength is not about positive thinking. Thinking overly positive thoughts can be just as detrimental as thinking overly negative thoughts. Mentally strong people think realistically, rationally, and are in attune with their emotions. Mental strength is not about being callous, it's about being compassionate. Those are 7 things that mental toughness is not about. Sometimes it's easier to understand to define something by learning what it's not about. Now we move on to the qualities of a mentally tough person. Ready? They have self compassion. Self compassion helps us to reach our highest potential. It's not others' compassion, it's self compassion. For the longest time, I thought liking myself, doing things myself to help myself before rescuing others were bad qualities. Especially sometimes if you are trained to think that if you like yourself, it's a bad thing, then it's hard to have self compassion. Self compassion is not selfishness. Self compassion is to love yourself, not from a selfish perspective, but you love yourself, to care for yourself, to put on your oxygen mask first before assisting others, to have the understanding that you cannot give what you don't have. To be the most effective at helping others, we must first help ourselves. We cannot give what we don't have. We cannot pour out of empty buckets. In order to be useful to others, we must first have self compassion. Here's why self compassion is important. While being too hard on yourself can lead to the resignation that you're just not good enough and make you feel worthless, and being too easy on yourself might lead to excuses for your behavior and a feeling of entitlement, self compassion strikes just the right balance. You're not being too hard on yourself, you're not being too soft on yourself. It strikes that find that right balance between the two. Second quality, mentally tough people are self forgiving. Everybody says self forgiving. Now say, I am self forgiving. Now close your eyes and say, I am self forgiving. It means understanding that everyone has shortcomings, including yourself. Self forgiving people understand that everyone has shortcomings, and just because they fail at a task does not mean that they are not worthy or that they are weak. Just because they got fired from a job, just because their spouse said something, just because they are slow in completing a task or they made a mistake, it does not decrease their worth as a person. When you take a forgiving approach to your weakness or failure, you will be more likely to recognize there's room to grow and improve. People with self compassion are self forgiving. Sometimes we forgive everyone else, but we don't forgive ourselves. We forgive everyone else for their repeated betrayal of trust. When we commit a mistake or something wrong, we're very hard on ourselves. That can weaken us. Mentally tough people are self forgiving. Third quality, mentally tough people know that failure is often part of the journey to success. They learn from their failures. Failures is a sign that they are challenging themselves and they choose to try again. Someone who never takes a risk, who never tries to do anything differently, who never does anything except find fault with you or do what you're doing, or they're laughing at your mistakes, they don't even realize they're failing. So if you're failing, take it to be as a positive thing if you keep at it and if you keep improving and you're getting a little bit closer to your journey or your goal. Fourth quality, mentally tough people fail forward. Everybody say, fail forward. Now say, I fail forward. Now close your eyes and say, I fail forward. When you try something different or take a risk and you fail, you're failing forward. Someone who tries nothing, does nothing, and wastes the years of their lives go by, they're also failing, except that they're failing backward. That's a huge difference. You're failing also, but you're at it. You have some goals, you're moving forward. Someone who does nothing, they are failing also. They're failing backward and they don't even realize it or they don't care. Fifth quality, a mentally tough person has fears. Sometimes we think when someone is mentally tough that they are not afraid. Do you think the army soldier has no fear when they see the enemy approaching? Of course they feel afraid. You think that mother has no fear when she's living in a car, freezing, and she cannot afford to have a home or she cannot afford her heating bills? Of course, she's terrified. Mentally tough people have fears. They're terrified. They still face those fears. That's their next quality. They face their fears. They don't run away from their fears. While being afraid, they press forward. This is where their mental toughness becomes stronger. If we keep hiding, if we keep turning our backs away, if we keep running away from the problem gets stronger, we get weaker. Mental toughness allows us to face those problems while being terrified. We face them with our knees shaking. Next quality, they have humility. Toughness does not mean arrogance. Toughness does not mean insensitivity nor callousness. Toughness does not mean lack of feeling. Toughness does not mean vanity. What does toughness mean? It means humility. That's strange, isn't it? We wouldn't think of the word humility when we think of mental toughness. Humility is one of the foundational principles of mental toughness. A mentally tough person has the grace to say, I don't know everything. Some of the toughest people that I know are the most humble. They are very gentle. They are very human-like. The toughest people that you may know, are they callous and insensitive? Or are they coming from a place of humility? Next quality, a mentally tough person commits to the long haul. With mentally tough people, they know that the best things in life take time to achieve. It could be to become an influential professional in your field. It could be to climb Mount Everest. It could be to become an Olympic skier. It could be to move into a different zip code than where you're living in now, or to become a better parent. A mentally tough person knows it's not just with a magic wand, woof, and they sweep the magic wand and everything magically changes. That's not how it happens. It happens in increments, and sometimes we fail, then we rise. It's not like the flip switch. It's like the dimmer switch. It's incremental. Next quality, a mentally tough person see the larger picture. Your job title does not define who you are as a person. Let's say you are a nurse or a nurse aide. If you should, when you're seeing the smaller picture, is to say, oh, I'm a nurse, I work from 8 to 5. That you're going through the motions of doing the rhythm of things. Seeing the larger picture is to say, I provide healthier communities. I try to leave my patients feeling better. I try to be caring so that I leave caring, positive ripple effects after the patient leaves the room. I try to lift my coworkers when they're having a hard day. I'm also a parent. I'm also a neighbor. I'm also a daughter or a son. That's seeing the larger picture. There's a story of these 3 bricklayers, and they're working on a building, laying brick. Someone walking by asks the first bricklayer, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Oh, I'm just a bricklayer laying brick." Then he asks the second person, "What are you doing?" And the second bricklayer replies, "Oh, I'm making 25 cents a day to provide for my family." And then he asks the third bricklayer, "What are you doing?" And he proudly gets up, stands up, and replies, "I'm helping to build the Notre Dame Cathedral." That's seeing the larger picture. So I ask each and every one of you, what are you doing? What's your larger picture? Think about that for a few seconds. What's my larger picture? Next quality of a mentally tough person, they know that progress is not always obvious. We don't see a tree growing. We cannot see our hair growing. The tulip bulb is there and bud is there in the spring, and the next morning it blossoms when the sun comes, but we don't see it happening. Progress is similar. It's invisible. It's intangible. We cannot really put our hand into progress. It's incremental sometimes. Progress does not always happen in a straight line. Sometimes things may have to get worse before they can get better. And at other times, you might feel like you might take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Mentally tough people know that even though progress may not be obvious, they are still making progress because they keep at it. They stick with it. Next quality. A mentally tough person practices delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is something that some people are better at than others. The truth is, anyone can fall to the lure, that attraction of instant gratification, immediate gratification. Sometimes is at the heart of many problems. Even people who are good at delaying gratification in some areas of their lives are likely to have weaknesses in others. For example, you may be good at saying no to a cookie that's in your break room at work, but you may not be good at waiting for an email response from a client who is slow in getting back to you. So you pick up the phone and leave a not so nice message. We don't expect instant results when we practice delayed gratification. We don't assume that if things don't get better right away that we are not making progress. We simply accept that to be a part of the journey. No one goes on the interstate from one part of the country to the other end of the country without ever stepping on the brakes, without ever switching lanes. We have to switch lanes. We may have to slow down. Sometimes there could be a traffic jam along the way. That's part of the process. So part of the process of progress is that it's slow. It's not a straight journey. Sometimes the longer we wait for something and the more difficulties we encounter during that journey, the happier we become when we finally arrive at our goals. Next, the 12th quality of a mentally tough person, setbacks are comebacks. Everybody say it with me. Setbacks are comebacks. Whatever setback you may have experienced, see them as setups for a powerful comeback. No problem lasts forever. Things are constantly changing. They take calculated risks. Calculated risks make us stretch. They make us face our fears. They take us to the next level of challenge. Start with small risks. I challenge you all. Just do something very small. It could be taking a different route to your grocery store. Putting the trash can on the other side of the curb instead of the side that you're usually used to. It's a small thing. Why would that help? Because it's almost, even as small as it is, it's like taking a calculated risk. We're creatures of habit. Once we get used to doing something the same way, it could be putting the trash bin on the same place. We don't want to even risk putting it on the other side. Or we don't want to take a different route to the grocery store, which is just 2 minutes from where we live. Make a small change and imagine yourself taking a calculated risk. Then the next day, take a slightly bigger risk. Then the next day, take a slightly bigger risk. You don't get to be extraordinary without taking calculated risks. It's not just taking risks for the sake of taking. It's taking calculated risks. And sometimes taking calculated risks can be extremely scary. Those are some qualities of a mentally tough person. How many of you have all those qualities at the same time? If you have all those qualities at the same time, you don't need this message, you need therapy. It's impossible to have all those qualities at the same time. Mental toughness improves our focus, concentration, and clarity. Everybody say it with me. Focus, concentration, and clarity. When we have mental toughness, we can focus on our goals. We know where we are going. We know what we want to get done for that day. We know what tasks to avoid. Mentally tough people focus on high-value tasks. Low-value tasks don't give a sense of achievement. For example, if you have to submit a budget for a grant, get the laundry done, buy weed spray at the local hardware store to put on your lawn in the springtime for weed, to prevent weed from growing, make a call to your dealership, your vehicle dealership, about an oil and filter change, and you have a Zoom meeting, looking at emails. Those are different tasks that you have for the day. What are the highest value tasks coming from a professional perspective? Is it to put weed spray on the lawn? Probably not. One of the highest value tasks might be to submit a budget for a grant. It requires intense concentration, and you are seeking funds for your organization. That's a high value task. Concentration is high with mentally tough people. The ability to concentrate without getting disturbed is key. This might mean you put a do not disturb sign on your door during the first hour of the day, turn off your iPhone, shut off notifications, and above all, keeping out the mental clutter. Mentally tough people have intense concentration when they're working on a task. They might switch off their iPhone, they might keep it in another room. They focus. They also have clarity. It could be clarity about how to handle an interpersonal conflict, clarity about how to fix an IT problem, clarity about who to hire for the position. They see things clearly. This saves damage later on. If there is danger, because they have clarity of thought, they see that ahead of time. It really saves a lot of heartache for the staff and sometimes for an entire organization or for a community because one person had clarity of thought. Mental toughness and time management. That's our next section. Have you ever heard the proverb, if you want something done, give it to a busy person? Why is that? There's a reason why lazy people with unlimited time have that kind of unlimited time. They don't get things done, or they will do the bare minimum, or they will drag the task, or they will get started and they don't finish, and they do the easy thing and they give the harder, more time consuming thing to someone else. Busy people get things done, and that's also why lazy people dump all their workload on a busy person. So the busy person is always getting things done, while the lazy person has a lot of slack. They have a lot of downtime. That may also be why sometimes a busy person is on a short fuse. Their to-do list is unending. Here are time management principles mentally tough people follow. You ready? The first is to tackle the hardest tasks first. These tasks stretch your mind. The hardest task is usually the most unpleasant and the one that you dread. Do these when your mind is the most alert. Most people like to do what's easy, painless, and produces immediate results. Mentally tough people, on the other hand, embrace what's difficult, tedious, challenging, and painful. It's the challenge that tests their endurance, their physical, mental, emotional endurance. And they know the more they are challenged, it's like working out in the gym. The heavier the weights, the more muscles you will gain. So they get the hardest task out of the way when their mind is still alert. Here's the reasoning why. The lighter our mental load, the more things we can get done in shorter frames of time efficiently. When we have something bothering us, it looms in the back of our mind every day. It affects the quality of all the other tasks. It affects the quality of our smiles. Our voice sounds irritable over the phone. Why? At the back of our minds, we have to complete that unpleasant task. Mentally tough people get that unpleasant task out of the way. Focus on high value tasks. When we focus on high value tasks, it gives us a sense of accomplishment. When we focus on low value tasks, we feel stressed. Which task gives the highest returns? It's not just ticking things off on your to-do list. You want to hit the pause button as a mentally tough person and ask yourself, which of these tasks give me the highest returns? Now, highest returns could be financially, but it doesn't always have to be. Sometimes it could be financially. Sometimes it could be clearing up an error. So it's picking up the phone and doing that first thing in the morning before the problem takes deeper root. Sometimes the highest return might be to pick up the phone and say sorry to someone before they dial their attorney on something, and that gets the legal process going. Before all that, if you want to try to work it out without the involvement of attorneys, your highest return would be to either meet with them face to face and say sorry, or explain where you were coming from, or send an email to do the damage control before the other person gets started on the litigation process. That's what I mean by highest return. Remember Parkinson's law. Work expands and contracts like an accordion to the amount of time we give them. If you have 8 hours to wash the dishes, guess what? Probably you're going to take 8 hours to wash the dishes. You let them sit there for 8 hours. Mentally tough people work in tight time frames. They don't give themselves unlimited time or the rest of their lives to get things done. Work in shorter time frames. If you give too much time for a task, you're wasting time. Work in shorter time frames, maybe 40 minutes to work on a budget instead of 5 hours, maybe 2 hours to finish up that newsletter instead of 1 week. The most successful a person is, you'll notice that they work in tighter time frames, in minutes rather than hours, in hours rather than half a day, in half a day rather than 4 days, in 1 day rather than a week. They try to work in shorter, tight time frames. Time management and mental toughness. Here is another key principle: clarity of thought. Everyone say it with me: clarity of thought. When you are clear about what you're doing, you get things done very quickly and it doesn't cost you too much energy or effort. What should I be doing? Where will this task take me? Have clarity of thought as to why you're doing that particular task. Why are you on the payroll? If you don't know what task you should be doing, there is no clarity. And if you don't have clarity, and if you are the boss or the CEO or the manager, how can you give others clarity? Single handling of tasks. Avoid multitasking. Avoid looking at the iPhone, typing a budget, and eating chips at the same time. Focus only on typing a budget. Sometimes we do multitasking and we are doing like a haphazard, like a half effort goes into all 3 or 4 tasks. Nothing gets done well. Mental toughness and time management principle. Is this a morning task or an afternoon task? Many people are most alert in the mornings, in the early hours of the mornings, and here is why. Their mind, their subconscious mind, has had full night's rest or a few hours of rest while they were sleeping. So now, after you rest, you have a burst of new energy, and that's early morning time. Some people, let's say they're working the graveyard shift, then their most alert time might be afternoon. So it depends. But for the most part, for many people, their most alert time is morning time. If that's your most alert time, then do the most important things in the mornings. Write your to-do lists with a good old-fashioned pen and paper the night before. Write your to-do list the night before. Here's the emotional reasoning why. Here is why mentally tough people write it the night before. When you write your to-do list the night before, it works in your subconscious all night. And when you get up first thing in the morning, bam, you know exactly what you should be doing. You know exactly what you should be doing. So that saves a lot of time, and you use that prime morning time energy to get the most important tasks done. The Pareto principle, the 80-20 principle, when it comes to time management, 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your tasks. 80% of your time goes towards completing 20% of your tasks. What 20% should you be concentrating on? That's another important principle mentally tough people practice when it comes to time management. AI and time management. Use ChatGPT as your time management. Let's say here are some tasks for your day. I have to type a budget from 8 to 9. I have a Zoom meeting from 9:15 to 9:45. I have to pick up laundry sometime in the evening. I have to type a grant proposal. Put all those in ChatGPT or some AI program and ask the AI program to arrange those tasks in what's most important. Focus on each task that you're doing. Don't get up, don't look at the iPhone. Focus until you get that done or at a safe enough stopping point. Decide if this task requires slow thinking or fast thinking. Some tasks require you to think slow, sleep on it, turn it through your head. Other tasks require split decision making. A police officer has a split second to decide whether or not to pull out his gun and shoot. That's split decision making. You cannot think through it. You cannot sleep on it overnight. And some tasks, maybe you're dealing with a toxic employee and you're trying to see who it is, who is doing the behind the scenes game. So you have to think through it and spend more time on it. That's slow thinking. So mentally tough people decide when they face a crisis, when they face a problem, before the crisis escalates, they ask themselves, does this require slow thinking or fast thinking? Preethi's step-by-step program to improving mental toughness. That's my program for improving your mental toughness. You ready? Get comfortable being alone. Becoming comfortable being by yourself for at least a few minutes or a few hours each day, that could improve your mental toughness. There's nothing wrong in being alone. Overcome solitude phobia. Sometimes people think it's wrong to be alone. Not necessarily. It makes you more attuned to yourself. Being comfortable by yourself is not loneliness, it's solitude. You feel comfortable with silence. Pay very close attention to how you get your day started. No one here starts their day with the iPhone, right? No one here starts their day with the iPhone? All right. Oh, some of you do. Well, maybe you might take a little risk, a calculated risk, and try to make a little change. See where it takes you. Avoid starting your day with the iPhone. It's a major energy leak. Pay attention to the first 20 seconds of your mornings in how you get your day started. Sometimes, even before your feet touch the ground from the bed, your mind has already gone spinning in a million different directions. That annoying coworker's sarcasm, someone who did something dishonest, they promised to pay you and they didn't pay you, and you can do nothing about it. Driving in traffic, what exit to take, Zoom call, wondering what you should have for breakfast. Should you pump gas at this station or that station? All that mental clutter, they seem to just overpower our mind during the first 20 seconds. Before all that mental clutter kicks in, take control of your mind. Start your day with quietness. After your first 20 seconds, look at your first 20 minutes. This is when you look at the larger panoramic picture of your life. Earlier, we were talking about the larger picture. This is one of those times to look at the larger picture of your lives. You can sit up, sit still, become quiet with yourself, and just think about your goals ahead. Where do you want to be? Not just today, but tomorrow, a week from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Think of the larger picture of your life. Imagine it, visualize it, have it. Imagine it, visualize it, have it. Next, in improving your mental toughness, solitude time offers restoration. Mentally tough people are always trying to become better, grow, improve. They try daring things. Sometimes when they fall, it hurts their ego, but they don't remain fallen. They get up, and sometimes when they feel like they have let themselves down or they have let someone else down, they take some solitude time to restore from that wound. And solitude, it's like leaving a wound right here. Instead of poking at it, you let it heal. That's that solitude time. They practice meditation, prayer, reflection, anything that you might want to call it, that's fine, to feel restored. Mentally tough people have a strong inner program, and they strengthen that inner program with meditation, prayer, chants, reflection, sometimes deep breathing. Do you have to take a week off from work and go to a very secluded place to feel that inner sense of calmness? No, sometimes you can do it right from where you are. Not everyone can just take a week off and go whenever they like. They have other responsibilities. Meditation alters our brain waves, and over time, your brain physically changes. Intense prayer sometimes can do that. Regions associated with learning, memory, emotional regulation begin to thicken and grow when we meditate. So, how does it show? If you were someone who were very quick to lose it, or you hung up the phone on someone very rudely, and now you have a strong meditation, prayer, or inner reflection, inner calmness type of program going, you will feel the difference that you don't necessarily hang up the phone so rudely as you used to. You are more self regulated. Why? Through all those techniques, those areas of the brain that regulate your emotions, they have gotten thicker, they have improved. It provides emotional benefits, and it also decreases anxiety. Inner reflection, meditation, prayer, they help to reduce negative emotions during times of stress. Every day, sit in a relaxed position and focus on your breath. That's another practice of a mentally tough person to improve their mental toughness. They sit in a relaxed position and focus just only on their breath. It's not zoning out, it's becoming attuned with our inner selves. Increase your pain tolerance. Try to do at least one thing every week to increase your tolerance for pain. Comes from the Stoicism, from the Greeks. Just a little thing. It's not self punishment. Sometimes, when we get used to too much comfort, that could go against us because life is not all about comfort, is it? Especially when you are working somewhere, you have to deal with difficult people. Especially when your goals get bigger, you will encounter challenges. And so, to be able to increase your tolerance for pain can make you stronger. Next tool in improving your mental toughness, scan your body. Slowly pay attention to each part of your body from the tips of our toes to the top of your head. Look at areas of your body that may be tense and practice letting go of that tension and relaxing your muscles. Here's another tool. Count. If it's something that's bothering you or someone is saying something, count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes you might count to 25. If it's someone extremely stressful and being unreasonable, count to 100, 500. Close your eyes and count if that person is not there, and you can just do it by yourself. Notice as your mind will likely wander along the way, then you will refocus and get yourself back in and start counting. Here is another tool. Focus on one object for an extended period of time. Let's say you're focusing on a pen. Just learn to focus on that. Sometimes maybe all you can do is a few seconds because your mind gets distracted, or you have to look, or you have to lift where you shift the focus of your eyes. Then you might do it for a minute. Why does this matter? With mental toughness, focusing helps you. Then you translate this into focusing on your task in the workplace, and it helps you to train your mind with one thing for an extended period of time. Break your food bites into small pieces. Instead of taking a whole gulp, take a bite of food and eat slowly. Don't rush on it. Mealtime is not screen time. Mealtime is not screen time. Sit down and eat your meals. As you chew them slowly and feel the flavor as you swallow them. We are now breaking it up. We are breaking things up. We are slowing down to speed up. We're slowing down with our eating to speed up in our lifestyle. Little things that helps us to speed up by slowing down. Next tool to improving your mental toughness, think about your thoughts. Just because you think something bad does not make you bad. Just remember that. Just because you think something bad does not make you bad. It takes effort to evaluate your thoughts. Examine whether your thoughts are realistic before determining a course of action so you can make the best decision for yourself. Identifying beliefs and thoughts that will hold you back, such as wasting your energy on things you cannot control, dwelling on the past, those things consume us. And those are the things that keep us stuck. To have that forward momentum of a mentally tough person, let those thoughts flow through you rather than allowing them to pull you back. Replace them with productive thoughts. 12th tool is to eat right. If you're not eating right, it's hard to think right. Eating affects our thinking, and thinking affects our eating. Sometimes when we are hungry, we just feel like giving up. We don't feel it much here, but if you go to some places where people don't have food, their thought process is not there because they're on a hungry belly. You may not be on a hungry belly, but sometimes if we don't get the right kind of nutrition, it could affect our thought process. So eat right to think right. Get good sleep. If you don't get good sleep, it affects your mental toughness. Drink lots of water. Water is the best hydration to have. Drink lots of water. It affects our thoughts. Or you feel a headache when we don't have enough water. Ask for help when we need it. This goes back to that humility part. It's hard to become your best self without getting help from others. No one makes it alone. Talk to any successful, highly successful person and ask them if they made it alone. They'll be very quick to say no, they couldn't have made it alone. Surround yourself with supportive people. If someone is not supporting your progress, move on. Stop sharing your mental toughness program with them. It's very important, especially if you're making changes to become mentally tough, to surround yourself with people who will support you. And the 17th step is equip others. That's where the miracle begins. When you begin to feel the mental toughness program kicking in, you are improving, empower others to also become mentally tough, and they need your help. They need you, they just don't know how. Now you have the tools. The 3 B's of mental toughness. The letter B, that's what I mean by the 3 B's, the letter B. What are the 3 B's? Bold, brave, balanced. Everyone say it with me. Bold, brave, balanced. Now close your eyes and say it. Bold, brave, balanced. Now close your eyes, raise your hands and say it. Bold, brave, balanced. They are bold. They make bold decisions. They speak up when others hide behind a screen and send nasty anonymous emails to you or laugh behind your back on those group chats. They boldly say no instead of timidly and resentfully saying yes. They are brave. They brave the storm. When they see the crisis approaching, they don't fearfully run away from it. They face it head on like the eagle facing the storm. They go back to problems that they ran away from and face them. They take action because action conquers fear. Everyone say it with me. Action conquers fear. The 3rd B is balance. They lead balanced lives. They work 8 hours a day remotely. They pick up the 10-year-old from soccer practice, get the groceries done, pick up the meds at the pharmacy, go for a walk for self-care. They do the dishes. They listen to a co-worker's problem that they're having in their personal life. And they argue with someone about a wrong bill, and still they have energy at the end of the day. They are balanced. So those are the 3 B's of mental toughness. Moving on to the 3 M's of mental toughness. Mindful, momentum, motivate. Mindful, momentum, motivate. Mentally tough people are mindful. Mindful people think beyond themselves. They acknowledge the fact that there indeed exists a world outside of themselves, and their mindfulness brings calm in the storm. They don't fuel conflict, strife, and division. Momentum, they have momentum, a sense of flow. Will you say it with me? Flow, flow. They go from one task to another, one problem to another, one crisis to another with relative ease. They don't lose it that easily. There's a smoothness in how they handle problems. They make it seem effortless. They make it seem easy. They're like ducks. You know, the duck? They're like ducks, gracefully floating on the surface with their feet hidden in pitter-patter motion. Motivate. They're motivated, and their motivation comes from inside, not outside. They do things for the right reasons. Their motivation goes beyond money. Money cannot buy motivation. Motivation can buy money. Money cannot buy motivation, but motivation can buy money. The greatest secret of a mentally tough person. Here it is. Emotional rest. Emotional rest. This is the secret of mentally tough people and why they can be so productive day in, day out without getting exhausted, without losing their cool, without going on a short fuse. They come from a place of emotional rest. Emotional rest helps us to do a great deal of physical work and not feel exhausted. They say that some people who are mentally tough, they'll work from morning till night. It's like going from one task to another. It's like jumping, like a frog jumping from one task to another, and they are not exhausted. On the contrary, do you know someone, all they do is wash half a dozen dishes for the entire 24 hours and they're pooped? And they tell you and the whole town about it. And they tell you, who happens to be working 8, 12, 16-hour days, doing everything, how tired they are and that you should be doing more. Know anyone like that? Why is that? Why is it that one person does so little within a course of 24 hours and they're exhausted and they have to tell the whole world about it, and someone else who does so much and they still have energy reserves left? Why is that? They come from a place of emotional rest. That's the secret. That's how a mentally tough person gets an unimaginable physical workload done during the course of 24 hours, and no one ever hears about it. And they don't grumble, they don't complain, and they still have energy reserves left. That takes us back to the time management principle we were talking about. If you want something done, give it to a busy person. It takes us to that time management principle that other people want to dump and unload their work on a mentally tough person because they come from an emotional place of rest. A mentally tough person does. So they're able to get an unimaginable workload done within a course of 24 hours. Even to have a chance at losing, you must still be in the game. In other words, even to have a chance at failing, you must still be in the game. You must still be out there doing something. If you do nothing and completely withdraw, you don't even have a chance at losing. So even if you're failing, keep at it. This is why mentally tough people are more likely to succeed, because they have that resilience, that tenacity, that grit to keep at it, to keep at it, to keep at it, and make the improvements until they hit their goal. Discernment. Not a word that we hear of often, is it? Mental toughness is about having that discernment of knowing when it's time to quit, the power of knowing when to walk away. What do I mean by discernment, to know when it's time to walk away? It's not from a quitting perspective. Discernment is to have that inner voice. You weigh the pros and cons. You feel like it's time for a change. You feel like I have outlived my usefulness on this job. Nothing that I'm doing is working. This person will never allow me to rise up the ranks. This person will never give me the recognition that I deserve. That's what I mean by discernment, that quiet inner voice that speaks directly to you from the inside. It's not always holding on that makes us strong. It's sometimes letting go, releasing it, that makes us stronger. And this can be very difficult because we are taught that quitting is bad, giving up is never good. Well, it depends on how you see it. There are some things it's the best thing for you to quit. There are some people that it's the best thing for you to relieve yourself from them. They are bad for you. Here is a story to just to say, sometimes, let's say you had a goal and you, your family, have been putting in money into that goal to build that business for 2, 5, 10, 20 years. Now your family is financially drained. You are in debt. That's a time to have that discernment and ask yourself, is this working? Is it time to quit? The power of knowing when to walk away from that business. You don't want to put another 20 years and make a 40 total and everyone is broke because they're dumping in money to a business that's not going anywhere, that's only having loss. So sometimes having that discernment is key to ask yourself, should I be closing doors? Mentally tough people have that discernment to ask yourself, is this time for a change? Is this time for a shift? Thank you for listening to this webinar on mental toughness. This is Preethi Fernando. My website is www.preethifernando.com. Thank you.